In the annals of history, there are battles fought between sworn enemies, and then there are the conflicts that should never have happened. A clash so improbable, so tragic, that for decades it was buried under layers of secrecy and diplomatic silence. This is the story of the day America and Russia went to war with each other. It's November 1944. World War II is in its brutal final phase. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Red Army is relentlessly pushing the Wehrmacht back towards Berlin. In the West, Allied forces, including the Americans, are battling their way through Europe. Both powers are united by a single, overriding goal: the defeat of Nazi Germany. They are allies. They are fighting for the same cause. Our story takes us to the Balkans, specifically to Yugoslavia, a country fiercely contested by the Germans and the local partisan resistance. By late 1944, Niš, a strategic city, had been liberated by a combined force of Soviet Red Army troops and Yugoslav partisans. The Germans were retreating, but the roads were still a dangerous labyrinth of friend and foe. From airfields in Foggia, Italy, American P-38 Lightnings of the 82nd Fighter Group were regularly flying missions over Yugoslavia. Their task: interdicting retreating German columns, cutting off their escape routes, and disrupting their logistics. These were experienced pilots, some of the best the U.S. had. On November 7, 1944, a flight of P-38s took off for one such mission. But something went terribly wrong. For reasons still debated, some say faulty navigation, others bad weather, or even a misunderstanding of radio instructions, the American pilots strayed drastically off course, not by a few miles but by an astonishing 100 miles, 160 kilometers from their intended target area. Instead of finding German columns to the north, they found themselves over the Morava River Valley near Niš. Below them stretched a long, winding column of vehicles and soldiers. It was a Soviet Red Army convoy moving through the newly liberated territory, packed with supplies, men, and vital equipment. To the American pilots, looking down from thousands of feet with the adrenaline of combat and the pressure of their mission, these simply looked like German forces, the enemy. Without hesitation, the P-38s descended. Their machine guns and cannons opened fire, ripping through the unsuspecting convoy. Chaos erupted on the ground. Trucks exploded, soldiers scattered, and the terrible reality set in: they were under attack. This wasn't a skirmish with retreating Germans. This was a slaughter of their own allies. Among the dead was Lieutenant General Grigory Kotov, a senior Red Army commander, along with at least 30 other Soviet soldiers. The sound of strafing aircraft sent shockwaves through the nearby Niš airfield, where Soviet Yak-9 fighters were based. The pilots, under the command of seasoned aces like Alexander Koldenov, scrambled immediately. They knew German planes were a threat. But the speed and ferocity of this attack were unusual. They raced into the sky, ready to defend their comrades on the ground. What followed was a brutal, bewildering 15-minute dogfight. American P-38s against Soviet Yak-9s. Pilots on both sides, hardened by years of combat, fought with everything they had. The Soviets, seeing their ground troops attacked, believed they were fighting German Focke-Wulfs, which, ironically, had a similar twin-boom design to the P-38. The Americans, in turn, seeing aggressive fighters with unfamiliar markings, assumed they were German. It was a tangle of death, born of misunderstanding, then a moment of clarity, or perhaps pure desperation. A Soviet pilot, risking his life, flew dangerously close to the American flight leader. He wagged his wings, exposing the unmistakable Red Star insignia emblazoned on the fuselage. The American pilot saw it. The realization hit him like a physical blow. These weren't Germans. These were their allies. The firing stopped. The remaining American planes broke off immediately, retreating into the clouds, leaving behind a sky stained with smoke and a horrific truth. The Battle of Niš was over, but the cost was devastating for such a brief engagement. Official counts vary, largely due to the secrecy surrounding the incident. The U.S. likely lost between 2 to 4 P-38s and 2 to 3 pilots. The Soviets lost at least 2 to 3 Yak-9s, and on the ground, a staggering 34 or more soldiers were killed, including General Kotov. A tragic toll, all for a mistake. The timing of this incident couldn't have been worse. November 7th was the anniversary of the October Revolution, a sacred day in the Soviet Union. The Soviets were furious. Some officials, deeply suspicious of Western intentions, even believed the attack was a deliberate warning shot from the Americans, a signal about post-war influence in the Balkans. To defuse the volatile situation, top American officials scrambled. General George Marshall and Ambassador Averell Harriman immediately issued formal, heartfelt apologies directly to Joseph Stalin. They blamed gross navigational error and expressed profound regret. Stalin surprisingly accepted the apology, but the incident itself was swiftly classified, buried under layers of secrecy by both sides. It was an embarrassment, a potential wedge in the fragile wartime alliance, and something best kept out of the public eye. For decades, the Battle of Niš remained an obscure footnote, known only to a select few. During the Cold War, neither superpower had an interest in highlighting a conflict between them, even one born of tragic error. It was only after the collapse of the Soviet Union that more details began to emerge, allowing historians to piece together this extraordinary and heartbreaking event. Today, a solemn monument stands in Niš, a quiet testament to the Soviet soldiers who died in the only direct military engagement between America and Russia in history. The Battle of Niš serves as a stark reminder of the fog of war, where even the most advanced technology and experienced personnel can be victims of miscalculation and circumstance. It's a story of an alliance momentarily fractured by a catastrophic error, and a testament to the fact that in the chaos of conflict, even those fighting on the same side can become unwitting enemies. A secret kept for decades, now a somber lesson in the unpredictable nature of war.